So this is my first attempt at a tech review, and it's for the Palette Gear system of controllers. Now, I believe these are originally designed for photographic and video editing, but I wanted to see if we could hack it for use with music. Now, despite appearances, I'm a media composer, which means I write music for film, TV, and the occasional computer game. This inevitably means I program a lot of orchestral material. And in order to do that, an essential tool beyond just the keyboard is the ability to adjust expression and modulation on the fly. I'm also what's known as a Willie, which stands for Work in London, Live in Edinburgh, which inevitably means I travel loads. And because I'm constantly on the move, I need a portable rig. Now, orchestral programming on the move was like the stuff of dreams, not even like 3 years ago. But since this kind of technology, this is a T3 drive, which is 2 terabytes, and the great new kind of MacBook Pros, it is actually a possibility. So basically what I have is my portable keyboard, sustain pedal, and now my new controller, and of course a gin and tonic. To now I've been carting this around, which is a Behringer fader thingy, which is a pain in the arse because it's enormous, but also because it's a Behringer. So I went for the starter kit, which was $199 USD. They also have an expert and a professional kit that takes you kind of into the $500 region. With the starter kit, you get 2 buttons, 1 knob and 1 fader. So I needed to add another fader to it. They came in really nice packaging. In fact, the box is sturdy enough to be a kind of carry around with you type of thing. It's also got some spare slots, and it's very simple. Just you get the different modules and then a USB cable and a little quick setup guide that basically says you've got to go to their website. Downloading the driver software was very simple, and installing it was even simpler. The one thing that was kind of counterintuitive is they run a little video whilst you're installing the application that shows you putting the thing together, but what it doesn't say is don't put it together before downloading the firmware into the core unit. Now, as I said, this is kind of designed primarily for photographic and video editing. So you'll find that it doesn't have a direct interface with, say, Logic or Pro Tools. And indeed, I'm really using this as a MIDI controller. So if you're kind of an engineer wanting to have a hands-on experience with Pro Tools, I'm not entirely sure this is the device for you yet. There isn't integration with Pro Tools. It's basically using 2 protocols, MIDI and a keyboard protocol. So basically it's pretending to be an ASCII keyboard. So that is fine for me. I don't want to rely on license deals between Logic and Palette Gear or Pro Tools and Palette Gear. I know that Logic will continue to support kind of ASCII keyboards and MIDI, so there's no danger there of there being any compatibility problem in the future. So setting up, very, very easy. Basically, you have this Palette Gear app that launches automatically whenever you connect the Palette Gear. So we've got our core unit. Simply snap those in. What's really clever about it is whatever assignments I've made, it actually remembers for the, so it's not the order which you put stuff in, it's actually each of these I think probably has an ID and it remembers for each. So you simply go to your slider and select your MIDI CC. So if we have a look at my Logic here and I just pull up the Saucony thing, you'll see that I've got expression there, dynamics there, which is modulation, and also for this one, vibrato. And then you'll see with the buttons, they basically used keyboard mode, and you can basically, I've got it set as space. And then this one set as key 8, which is, according to my key commands in Logic, play and stop and record. Now, the first time I set it up, I got so excited about these buttons because they have this great kind of vintage retro arcade feel. I thought I'm going to get loads of buttons, but I've realized that after 25 years of using Logic, I kind of have a massive muscle memory. So no matter how convenient it is to start and stop, I haven't quite got into using these yet. But I'd love the idea of setting up a whole bunch so I could maybe change between the different tools and all of that kind of stuff. So very simple to use. And something that I also really enjoy is you can also change the colours as a kind of aid memoir. So with this knob, you've actually got 2 functions. You've got left, right, or 3, and push down. But in MIDI mode, you really do just have the option of using continuous control, CC21 for vibrato here. So what's fun about this keyboard mode is I can program stuff into it that is on the numerical keyboard, which I don't take around with me. Let's try, say, on this one. So on dial press, we can make that cycle on, and then this is a nice selector tool. So that's quite a good way of hacking the keyboard mode, so the extra numerical keys, you don't miss them on the go. And what's great is you can add different setups for different users, or indeed, for example, I use Premiere Pro, so I might do a little setup where I can do scrubbing and all of that kind of stuff with Premiere Pro. So all in all, I think this is a delightful piece of kit. These colours just absolutely make me smile. So the build quality is I'd say a strong 9 out of 10. The way these things slot in is just absolutely glorious. The faders, if you can see there, are a bit wibbly wobbly, so it's not like a 10 out of 10 amazing, like the best fader you've ever slid on a kind of a Neve desk, and this has a little bit of wobble. I have to say, top marks for the arcade style buttons though. When I took this into the office, people really loved the feel of those. Another little gripe I have is it looks like the starter kit and the fader connected to it, I don't know if you can see with that camera, it looks like they're from a different stock of metal. So these two metals look a little bit different. That is kind of quibbling though. If I've had any other gripes, a mistake I keep on making is quitting the app, and then you'll see that that kind of kills the palette. So you've always got to have the app on. It's not a problem. It does boot up automatically when you connect it, but when you go to edit it, you just have to click out like that. For me, something that I do find infuriating about companies who are building really good quality stuff is these tacky little leads that they give you with them. I think it's just a terrible shame. Often connecting your computer to the thing you've bought, the first bit of interaction you have with their product is with a lead. If there was something I would really look forward to in the future, that would be Bluetooth compatibility, so I didn't have to have a lead. You know, taking this laptop all around the world, these USB-C slots become a real prime bit of real estate. So being able to do away with this controller and control via Bluetooth would be awesome. Motorized faders would be fun, but it's not something that you need for MIDI, because you must always put your kind of input, your starting point at the beginning of the track anyway. So it's not a deal breaker for me at all. And then the only other gripe is it's a bit of an attention seeker. So when you're actually using these things, you'll see that this little box comes up, which for me just makes me slightly more self-conscious. After 25 years of programming orchestral, I have an intuition to how to use these faders, and I don't need an on-screen reminder of what different controllers I'm using. So that's one gripe. So with those little niggles in mind, the fact that it's not the absolute highest build quality they could have aimed for, and there's these little software niggles, I would give it a firm 9.5 out of 10. It takes a lot for me to replace a bit of kit that I've been using for, I think I bought this about 12 years ago. So that is a success story for palette gear.